In this video, I'm going to explain the travel mistake that could literally cost you everything. And I'll give you some context in just a minute, but I want to share a story with you. Just imagine this. You're 2 days into your dream vacation. You are in Northern Europe, and you get into a minor scooter accident. No big deal. You end up with a broken arm, and you have to go to the hospital. You need some procedures done and surgery. You're casted, and you're good to go. As you're getting ready to head out the door, they hand you a bill, the equivalent of 15,000 US dollars, and they tell you that they need payment before you can get a flight scheduled home. You pull out your American health insurance card thinking, hey, I'm covered. They just shake their head and laugh. That is the financial nightmare that thousands of travelers face every year because of one huge misconception. Many people think that their credit card covers them, or that their Blue Cross or Cigna or Aetna or whatever policy they have, United Healthcare, whatever, is going to cover them in a foreign country, and that is often far from the reality. So I want to explain some crucial differences. It's important to understand that it varies by country. There's different requirements for entry for certain countries depending on the length of the visa. That is for another video, and if you have questions, we can point you in that direction. But I want to share with you why spending less than the cost of a few check bags could save you from a six-figure debt. And it's much easier than you would think to find travel medical insurance. You can find plans that bundle together trip cancellation insurance, lost luggage, or just a purely medical policy that covers you when you're traveling abroad outside the United States. And you might think that this is crazy talk, that if you're over 50, there's and in good health, there's a small chance, if any chance, that you're going to need this. But statistically speaking, about 35% of U.S. travelers 50 and above require access to a foreign health system while traveling. It could be something minor like food poisoning, the flu, COVID, to more serious like an accident, a fall, an injury, a heart attack, a stroke. Any of those things can quickly ramp up. In the context that I have and that I can share from this perspective is, in a former life, I worked for a aeromedical transport company, and we did international flights and a lot of flights within the United States, and the cost of these is astronomical. So if you think that you're going to jump on a plane after being in the ICU in a foreign country, not likely to happen. So the cost of this is definitely something to consider, and I want to share with you a little bit more about why you should really consider purchasing travel insurance. So if you have a pre-existing condition, that oftentimes will be excluded, but there are riders that you can get from a variety of companies, and I'll share those with you here in a minute about which ones are much more realistic and affordable compared to others. So here are a few things to consider. If you have pre-existing conditions, you're going to want to make sure that you can get a rider for that includes acute onset of pre-existing condition. What that means is maybe you've had a heart attack in the past, but you're stable and you've been stable for the last X period of time, whether that's months or years, depends on the carrier. But if you have a flare-up of this condition, so you have another heart attack or you have some other issue, that is covered under the waiver. Obviously, you're going to have to read the fine print to evaluate each policy and plan, but a little bit of research will give you the answer you're looking for. Make sure that your plan has appropriate limits. A lot of these plans can start at $50,000 coverage and can go all the way up to $250,000 or even $1 million coverage. Want to make sure that the insurance plan covers the entire length of your trip. If you're delayed or detained because you're sick, you don't want to be hospitalized on day 22 of a 22-day trip and end up staying another week and falling outside your coverage zone. Some plans require you to purchase in advance of paying for your trip. Just depends on whether you're adding trip cancellation to that. Keep in mind that these plans need to be put in place before you depart the United States. You can't purchase them when you're already in country and sick. If you do so, there is certainly a chance that you may be denied or excluded if you need to rely on utilizing some of the benefits for these plans. I'll tell you what plan I came up with in just a minute, but I want to give you a few top plan providers. First is Allianz Global Assistance. You're probably familiar with this company. A lot of U.S. airlines sell this as trip cancellation type insurance, and you can get up to coverage up to $50,000 for emergency medical care, and you can increase that up to $500,000 to be evacuated. So there's no age restrictions up to the age of 80. And so just take a look at that. IMG International Medical Group. I'm not going to go through all the potential options for these plans because it varies on your unique situation and what you're looking to accomplish. Geo Blue, Voyager Choice. The thing I like about this plan is it covers pre-existing conditions with a waiver, or you can elect for the acute flare-up of a pre-existing condition. And I think that's certainly critical in our family's case. Another plan is the INF Elite Plan. You can type in Seven Corners or Square Mouth or travelinsurance.com. These are sort of marketplaces, if you will, that will help you compare and contrast plans. Don't be alarmed if you have sticker shock when you first start doing this. When we did this recently, looking for an extended trip to Northern Europe, one of the plans was on par with what we pay per month for our full-time U.S. health coverage, and I think that's a little bit ridiculous for what we were looking for. And we ended up going with Geo Blue, purchased a plan for 3 weeks and covers multiple countries for 2 people. One with some pre-existing health conditions, that'd be me, and the policy plan was a total of $240.16 for that 3-week time span. I added a bit of time on the end just in case, as I alluded to, there are some delays in travel, just building in a little bit of protection and security there. So I'll show you some of these here in just a minute, but I think the key point is that you need to make sure you understand the pre-existing condition definitions. Many policies are going to cover only the acute onset or sudden onset of flare-up of these conditions and will not cover routine care. They don't cover expected medication refills. I always review the exclusions for chronic ailments. Buy promptly. If you've already got your trip planned and booked, I would encourage you to find a plan, select something that you're comfortable with, and purchase that within 7 to 14 days of your first trip payment. Some of these are hard and fast rules by various carriers. Others are more flexible. And as always, like anything, get multiple quotes. The premiums can vary by age, health, deductible choices. And I think just in our example, for a 3-week trip, depending on your age, I think expecting anywhere between $80 to $300 per person for a total cost of the plan, just depending on what sort of additional coverages you might want. And always be forthright with any conditions to avoid claim denial. So I hope you found that helpful. This is not medical advice. This is just something coming from somebody who has worked in the travel medical industry and also who travels a fair amount. We have taken a fair number of trips naked, if you will, if you're familiar with the stock market phrase of being in a naked trade or an undefined trade. The risk is potentially infinite. If you have a serious injury or accident and you are trapped in a foreign country requiring ongoing medical care, particularly if it's surgery or ICU or critical care or cancer treatments, the costs will rapidly spiral out of control. So I hope you found that helpful. If you like this channel, smash that subscribe button and we'll talk to you soon.